WOCA.
AM 1370.
96.3. 96.3 FM. We are The Source. WOCA.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accidents. It'll be partly sunny and rather hot on this Monday with a high of 92 to 96. Partly cloudy and warm Monday night, low 73 to 77. For Tuesday, times of clouds and sun with a thunderstorm around in the afternoon, but dry near the coast, the high 92 to 96. For Wednesday, breezy with clouds and sun with a shower and thunderstorm around. Only in the morning, though, at the coast, the high 88 to 92. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
All right, 18 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see, turning on your radio. And you probably expect to hear us talk about Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton or the Olympics. And I don't blame you. And pretty much everybody else is doing this too. So I have something for, if you would allow this, just for 12 minutes.
Okay, 12 minutes.
Something other than any of the above.
Okay.
Science. I have some science stories to tell you that are happening in the news today.
Cool.
That I think you'll find fascinating. All right? Just for the fun. 12 minutes. Just take a 12-minute break from politics, a 12-minute break from Olympics. All right?
Okay.
And showbiz. I don't have any showbiz news in here either. It's all science.
Okay.
All right. First of all, this story it just came out. A 4-foot-long skull of a Tyrannosaurus Rex has been found. It's the most complete skull ever found of a Tyrannosaurus Rex, found up in Montana.
Oh, now TJ would love that.
It's part of the Hell Creek Formation, where many dinosaur fossils have been found. They have found, I think, 20%, there it is, 20% of the skeleton of this Tyrannosaurus Rex that died there in Montana. See? Where did they live? Where did the dinosaurs live? Well, they lived in Montana.
In Montana. Of course.
We had dinosaurs here too. I don't know. We had Tyrannosaurus Rexes, but we had that big long thing that's the skeleton is over at the Silver River Museum, right?
Sure. That climbs trees.
So anyway, the skull, the most complete, best preserved skull specimen ever seen of a T-Rex. There's one. How about that? Paleontologists are to thank for that. No mention of Trump. No mention of Hillary Clinton.
No.
How come we call him by his first name? Oh, never mind. We're not talking about them.
No, we're not.
Sorry. Something else. Science. More science. Another science story. We actually had this story, but this was a story from in recent weeks. There were some workers down at the South Pole, the Amundsen Scott South Pole stations where they were, and they got sick. You remember the story?
I do remember that.
And so we had to have rescue teams go get them. And the pilots had to fly in complete darkness because while it's summer on the northern hemisphere, it's winter in the southern hemisphere. And in the South Pole, that's as far south as you can go.
Yeah.
So it was pitch black. There are no markings. There are no lights down on the ground on the South Pole in Antarctica.
Or glow-in-the-dark penguins.
There were nothing, right? So these pilots had to fly. This was an amazing story. They had to fly to the Amundsen Scott South Pole Station during the coldest, darkest, most dangerous time of the year to rescue these two sick workers, and they did. So there was another science story.
That is amazing.
There's another science story that you might not have heard because we've been paying attention to Olympics and politics.
Right.
Okay, organs. When somebody donates an organ and it's going to go to a hospital to put into somebody who needs it, it is usually kept as cold as possible. But now scientists are saying it might actually transplant better if instead of shipping it cold, they actually ship it alive with actually warm, perfused blood still flowing through it.
Oh, my.
It doesn't say how this would be accomplished, but let's say, for example, somebody dies and their heart is removed to be brought to somebody who needs a new heart. Rather than putting it in freezing temperatures, and I guess it just becomes still, they actually it'll continue to pump until it gets there. Isn't that amazing that they can do this?
Yes, it is.
And that would be true for any organ, I guess, that is donated, with the exception of maybe corneas and things like that. I guess they would keep them. I don't know how they would do that. I'm not even trying to speculate, but I'm just thinking organs that have blood flowing through them, and I don't think a cornea does, although I don't know. But.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, here's another science story. I'm not trying to settle on one. I'm just giving you
Yeah, but these are
I'm
fascinating.
just giving you a bunch, yes, just a bunch of science stories that you'll hopefully find at least one or two fascinating. There was a ferret that was close to extinction, a type of a ferret.
Oh.
There were only 18 of them known in the world in 1987. 18.
Really?
They're called black-footed ferrets, yes.
Okay.
Only 18 of them, but they have made a great comeback thanks to captive breeding, reintroduction programs, and protection from their main predator, prey, whatever, prairie dogs. Prairie dogs eat ferrets. Who knew?
Who knew that?
Cute little things.
Your nephew had one.
Prairie dogs are susceptible to a
ferret.
flea-borne plague. So now U.S. Fish and Wildlife is trying to protect them by using a drone to drop peanut butter flavored pellets containing plague vaccine. The prairie dogs eat the pellets, are protected from the plague, and serve as ferret fodder instead.
Wow.
How about that?
Wow. Isn't that something?
Scientists figured that out. Yes, we got paleontologists, we got ferret doctors and everything. Okay.
I'll bet those drone flyers aren't within sight. I bet you they fly blind.
We have another one here. Where's this?
That is cool. Ferrets and prairie dogs.
I don't know that I understand this one.
Wow.
Scientists have created a man-made cell that has the smallest genome ever, but a third of its genes are still a mystery, even though science invented it, so to speak. The new life form is a fresh genome built from scratch with human hands is pushed into a host cell using an electric current. One cell quickly becomes a colony of 1 billion, and a completely unique living organism is alive. It's not science fiction. It's a recent breakthrough. Scientists created the first synthetic bacterium back in 2010, but a new study published in Science magazine says they've taken this proof of a concept one step further. Their latest single-cell creation has what they're calling a minimal genome. They've created an organism that has just 473 genes, the smallest known genome of any living organism.
Gosh.
They have created life.
Wow.
Or maybe you could say recreated life.
Recreated. I would use that term,
Here's another science story. Okay. A lot of people are confused and concerned about genetically modified food. We've had this discussion many times with people who are against it and those who are for it. Or there's those who are not for it necessarily, but against it and not against it. How about that's a better way to say it? The National Academies of Sciences, Medicine, and Engineering, the people you go to when you need to ask a question about this kind of stuff, analyzed the data and concluded that there is nothing inherently dangerous about GMOs.
Oh gosh.
Now you can step back and you can be
Yeah.
skeptical. We all do this all the time.
Yep.
But that's the conclusion that is in Science News. It doesn't mean that I'm telling you anything that's not debatable. This is still debatable. I'm just telling you it's in the news.
Yeah, that's one thing I'll have a debate with is that.
Because, and I know why you would, because we've had many guests who had, better. It's not us. It's not radio people who figure this out.
No.
It's our guests who tell us these things. right?
Exactly. We've had both sides. We've waited. Studied it.
Here's another science story that happened while we were paying attention to the Olympics. Using a combination of improved imaging techniques, scientists have doubled the number of distinct regions they can identify in the human brain.
Oh,
So now the brain is more complex than they realized at first. This is part of a recent effort to understand how the parts of the brain are interconnected, which could help you diagnose neurological problems, etc.
help people reverse Alzheimer's. That would be wonderful.
That would be the hope.
Yeah, or dementia. I'm sorry, it's not Alzheimer's till you die and they.
No, I think they changed that.
Oh, they did.
I think so. yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it used to be that they couldn't diagnose it until the
You
autopsy.
died. Right.
Yeah. Here's another science story. We had one just a little while ago from the Million Veteran Program,
Yes.
using the largest database in the United States history to better understand health and the genomic information.
Yes.
This is all going to lead to a better world, I hope.
It is. It is.
If we could ever get rid of bad people, then good stuff would always happen.
Exactly. I love that quote.
Cancer doctors are criticizing pediatricians and family doctors for not encouraging their patients to get the human papillomavirus vaccine. I always say that wrong, but you know what I mean, HPV. So that's a news story that has to do with science. And we've had this before. People who say, I don't want to get that vaccine, doctors are criticizing them for not doing that. Part of the reason for that particular one is not that they're opposed to the vaccine, but they're opposed to young girls having it mandated upon them by their schools
Exactly.
when those young girls are not sexually active.
Yeah. And even if they were, they shouldn't have to have it mandated that they take.
Yeah, so there's a political
not letting my
element to that
daughters
story.
do that.
There's a
Yeah.
political element to that story. Another news story in the science world is that July, which was just a month ago, was the hottest month ever recorded on Earth.
I believe it.
That's what they say.
I believe it.
It was hot.
It was hot.
Here's another science story. Robots are being developed that will follow you around and blast you with heat or air conditioning as you walk around. Now that's got to be a rich man's toy.
Exactly.
You're gonna see rich people walking around outside jogging. There's
Yeah.
going to be a robot following them, blasting them with cold air.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the poor jogger
Yeah.
is saying, "Are you insane?
Exactly. What's your problem?
Are
You're
you
supposed to sweat.
insane?"
You're supposed to sweat. That is really nutty. That is really nutty. Gosh. Sweat is good for a person.
Here's another science story that you may have
Might as
missed
well
while we
wear
were
an
paying
air-conditioned
attention.
suit.
While we were paying attention to the Olympics, you might have missed this science story. There may be a ninth planet at the edge of our solar system. Hello, Pluto.
That's right.
Are you feeling jealous right now?
Exactly.
You were demoted to a dwarf planet.
That's right.
Now they say there's another one. And speaking of space, if you go out into
Yes.
space for a prolonged period of time, the lack of gravity may distort the shape of your eye and harm your vision. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think they're doing tests on that.
We'll be back. I just wanted to let you know there were some science stories you missed while we were paying attention to the Olympics and to
poor Pluto.
politics. We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Karen McHugh. Donald